Hey people, what's up? What's going on? My main my main focus today is about leadership and organizational theories. Let's talk about a subtopic which is challenging decisions for Virgin. Richard Branson, as a company, as a founder, most of you guys should know about this. We need to first just introduce him so that people know who he is exactly and what I'm talking about. His full name is Richard Charles Nicholas Branson. He's an English businessman, a founder for Virgin Group, born in 1950, so he should be 65 years old, and he's worth almost 5 billion. We can give him 100 million, make him 5 billion, okay? So let's talk about the history, development, and growth. Branson started off his business with Student Magazine, Virgin Records, movies, games, yada yada. You can look at the chart right here. He's done so many things right here, guys. And the guy's literally got 50,000 employees working for him in 34 different countries, making almost 13 billion pounds every year. We need to just quickly discuss about the company structure, how it is based. It's a private company. It's got a flat structure wherein each of those employees has his or her own freedom to make any decisions. I think that's a very good idea because that helps them be more innovative and creative. So it's subdivided into 300 odd companies, and every company has got a few hundred employees, trying to make it a close knit organization. We need to know the rules of business for Richard Branson. He's got 5 rules. At least 4 of those guys meet in. That means it's gonna be another new business. So talking about these 5 rules, it's to be innovative, to have a challenging authority. To challenging authority means not to be having a authoritative attitude. If some of you guys might think that way, it's to be more innovative in that way, trying to be more challenging so you got this right spirit in getting into the right business. And offering value for money. So that's the most important part of any business. You want to make sure that your customer, he or she, is happy because they got the value for the money. And obviously comes in good quality. A growing market. Talk about India, which is Asia, China, and India, booming markets. So he taps into these markets. Let's talk about the strategy and how Richard Branson himself implements his ideas in business. First of all, he's always got an opportunistic strategy. His revenue is $24 billion, which is way awesome. Trial and error process implemented. Well, this means that he tries like any other businessman, gives it a shot. If he's happy with how the progress is going on, he continues that. And obviously, there's a Virgin brand there, and it takes off. He's a careful man when it comes to portfolio. I mean to say, he doesn't focus on just one part of a business. He tries to diversify it, which is into different products and categories. Let me give an example right here, which is Virgin Cola, Virgin Mobile, and Virgin Airways. So these are 3 different products, and the way he categorizes is to make sure that they're all spread out into different markets. He's not going to put in Virgin Cola into a small time country like Japan, because he tries to study the market first and make sure that uh, the demography supports the products, what could be possibly progress there. So that's how he focuses. And he's a smart guy, in my opinion, because he doesn't just tap into these products which are daily commodities. He even taps into markets which are into domestic government sectors, government parallel sectors, which are trains, insurance companies, and banking too. I believe that's a responsible decision for Richard Branson as a person because not only is he trying to make himself happy, he's trying to give it away, give it back to the community as a person, which is definitely a positive attitude, in my opinion. Well, the second last point says it's focus its strategy on geographical expansion of its existing product portfolio rather than adding products. I think that's a very smart decision rather than spend money on R&D, invest millions and millions of dollars and bring out a new product and you're not sure what's going to go. So, I think it's a smart decision what he's done by just expanding his product line. So let me give an example right here. Virgin Airways is pretty common all over the world, and that's how he can slowly expand his product line by introducing Virgin Mobile in airports, because people are first of all aware now that the Virgin brand exists. And hey, you know what? Let me give it a shot from a Virgin Mobile. So that's how he expands his products. I think it's a very smart decision. Um, he's got a flat organization structure, which was actually defined in one of the points in the previous slides. That basically means to help encourage innovation, provide more flexibility, and promote values of shared ownership and responsibility. I think that's a very good, um, responsible way Richard Branson has given opportunities to most folks in partnerships. We need to also understand the company's weakness. There's always been a huge competition with other airlines like Emirates, which are luxury airlines. However, Virgin still holds strong in its brand. There's always a presence of limited global presence, especially in emerging economies. Let me give you a good example for this. First of all, I'm from India, and in India, Kingfisher Airlines was quite a big airline like Virgin Airlines. So however, the airlines is closed now due to so many reasons. So when airlines, which is a domestic airline, which has got its local presence, uh, is competing so well, it's pretty difficult for Virgin to come in and compete there, unless and until there are some situations. However, it's not easy. So, if you also observe from the last few years, there's been a lot of talks on Virgin Atlantic as a whole. I mean, come on. As a businessman, there has to be a diversification in portfolios, but he's been focusing mainly on Virgin Atlantic, which is a good thing in my opinion. I mean, think about it. You can spend $250,000 and you can see space. I think it's a great thing. But however, your focus should not be just on one thing. There's a mix of brand product image, in my opinion, because when you think about Virgin as a brand, if you'd ask any Tom, Dick, and Harry guy, obviously the first thing he's gonna say is about Virgin Airlines. Um, However, Virgin is one single brand, so it's got its own sub products under that brand, which includes mobile, colas, trains, magazines, Virgin Records. So it's definitely a confusion for a few folks when it comes to just one brand, and it's definitely confused a few folks out there. We need to talk about the company's strengths. We discussed about the weakness, the structure, how it practices its methods. It's definitely a strong promoter of brands. It's a preferred airline which has got obviously better customer satisfaction. There's so many other airlines which give the same level of satisfaction. But in my opinion, I think it's a pretty cool brand because Virgin is, it's Virgin. So I really like the brand. I like the guy, first of all, because he's a pretty positive guy out there. There are 5 million passengers annually, which is a good count for any airline. There are 40 destinations. Being a British brand, think about it. The UK is small in size, but it's unbelievable. And Branson's vision in advertising and innovative ideas has strengthened Virgin definitely because um, Richard Branson has done a couple of global challenges flying nonstop, flying in a balloon. So these are some of the things as a leader that can build his reputation and recognition that this guy is a great guy, he's a challenging guy. Why not? He's got a large. There's a large market sector for a brand like Virgin to compete with other folks. There's definitely a partnership creation that involves lesser risks, so he would definitely give it a shot for any new product. There's brand value and reputation, as I spoke. Um, he means quality. That's an image of his. One of the things I really appreciate about Richard Branson is he always initiates high budget projects. That means do it big or forget about it. So, do it big means obviously better quality, better labor, better services. That obviously needs a lot of effort. So, these are his strengths as Branson himself and as a company, and how it follows its ideas. Let's talk about a pest analysis. For those of you who don't know what pest analysis is, basically political change, an economic change, a social change, and a technological change. So, what it means is how a company can face these situations during political times, changing economy, or social or a technological way. So, talking about a political change, the government controlled the railways. They really couldn't handle it, so they obviously gave it to a bidding, and Branson won it, and he went ahead and privatized this. And so from then on, it's been a success for Virgin Rail. When it comes to an economic change, we need to understand that a lot of factors are in place. This is a very important part of the world today. We need to understand that living standards rise and living standards keep going up. Customers or people have their own cars. They prefer to take their own car to work. So every household would really have a minimum of a car or two, which can definitely, strain the business when it comes to railways or any public transportation. So if you observe few cities anywhere in the world, they try to reduce the bus fare or try to give a very nominal amount for a monthly pass to encourage the folks to use more of public transport. That could lead to growing part of the transportation business in terms of government. When it comes to social change, it matters a lot today because the world is being changing today due to globalization. Few of my own friends, they have offices in San Francisco, but they sit in North Carolina, Atlanta, and New York and work. So it's basically a work from home situation. And obviously, when it comes to these kind of situations, people are less dependent on transportation. Um, this way, it could definitely hamper the business of be it railways or any transportation business. And finally, technological change. High speed trains will be a great initiative that could save a lot of time and attract customers to take this route. You can take an example of Singapore. They started with their bullet train service, and from then on, it's been a boom because people prefer to spend 30 minutes on a bullet train traveling literally 100 kilometers or 60 miles in those 30 minutes rather than spend a couple of hours on the road. So, these are some of the changes, how that affects in terms of a pest analysis, if you guys want to understand that. We spoke about so many things. Now let's talk about Richard Branson and the rules as being a leader in his aspect. Always follow your passion. Do something good for yourself and the community. Believe in yourself. Be innovative. Believe in yourself. Be positive. Have fun. Don't give up. Because the moment you try to give up or turn towards a negative way, it's really not going to help you. Listen more and talk less. I think this is a must for most people, more than leaders, because that way it gives you more opportunity to think more and be more creative. Definitely make room for personal time and delegation. That means to have more time for your family and your adventure activities. That way you feel you've accomplished something rather than just work and home. And go out and meet more people. That way you get more ideas, you can exchange ideas and information. You get educated basically on a daily basis if you see that way. And communicate among all levels of your company. I think this is one point that can impact the most for any leaders. Let me give you a very good example in this point. Vijay Mallya is the founder for Kingfisher Airlines, and he handpicks everyone who works for him, be it even a pilot or an air hostess or anyone who works even for his beverage company. So I think that's a very good way to go ahead and lead a business because you know whom you're hiring, whom you're dealing with. I think that's a very good step for any leader. And finally, to be happy, you got to be happy and positive. That definitely brings a positive change. For Virgin as a company, we're talking about SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis means strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So, what exactly were the strengths in Virgin? We actually had a detailed discussion. To just sum it up in a few points, it's a positive brand. It's a close-knit working team, which is great. It's innovative, and quality is the number one priority. The weakness is it's focused on domestic markets. The partnerships idea could be an issue because there might be less risk, but however, you never know how the other guy is going to turn out to be. Too many experiments, which is positive and negative in my opinion. Definitely, it's a positive thing to have many experiments. However, you got to have uh, a measurable way of experimenting anything rather than just spend out your revenue on something. Focus not distributed, which is basically Virgin Galactic and Atlantic, which for over the few years it's been more focused on those guys. Therefore, you got to diversify your portfolio. The opportunities for Virgin as a company is to have more destinations and domestic opportunities. Partnerships could be available in other countries and regions. There are so many booming economies. There are companies in Australia that could be partnered because Australia is a great booming market, and there's so many possibilities for tourism over the years. There's always an increase of tourism too. That way, Virgin can be a very good possibility when it comes to tourism. And there's always more businesses to venture. And finally, threats for Virgin. Well, you know how the government rules and regulations work, and they keep changing in every course of time based on how currently the economy or the communities are facing. So there are technological aspects, work from home, as we spoke, and if you talk about threats, you can also include other airlines which are coming out with their own luxury forms. I mean, you can have your own suite type kind of airlines, which is a pretty cool factor. So it's still a threat for Virgin. So there's so much competition. And finally, national security, which includes terrorism. We need to understand a child's heels of great success. This is a small topic in any leadership subject. So, if you want to have a look at what exactly these details are, you can always have a look at the Leader's Legacy book, which is divided into parts. And under part 4, there is a small section that says formulas for being a successful leader. These are the 4 formulas according to the book. It's believe they know it all, believe they will never fail, believe they are better than little people, believe they are in charge. So these are the 4 formulas for a successful leader, how he or she can lead a team. Well, this is just my recommendation. Um, Obviously, Virgin needs to try to portray itself as more of a local company because sometimes what happens is if you try to enter um, an overseas market, let's say, for example, if Virgin as a company tries to introduce Virgin restaurants, I've never heard of Virgin restaurants, but just giving an example, you got to have a local flavor to that. So you got to be local wherever you are. You just can't enter as an international brand. You got to have a small portion of yourself to be local to wherever you are in the world. That way, that can help connect people to be potential customers, and that way it could be a possible way to open a business in any place in the world. To create more of an identity for individual brands. I think this is a very good point because as we spoke before, as I discussed rather, Virgin is a brand, but it's got so many hundreds of different brands under, I mean to say, sectors under Virgin as a brand alone. So, and finally become less diverse. So, I think these are my recommendations, in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation today. There are more to come. It's always good to share knowledge. Please leave in your comments and your feedback, and you have a great day and a great evening, guys. Thank you so much. This is Nirup. Bye bye.